listening to NEUROMINDED. Today's episode is right versus left brain.
If
Yeah,
you guys,
let's go into them.
let's start one.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right. The first one we're gonna start with is called.
Hold on. Let me get my tinfoil hat ready.
Oh no.
No, just kidding. Just
I love
kidding.
this fucking guy. All right. Okay. This one is called the Robbers Cave Experiment. Anyone hear of it already? Robbers Cave.
No, not by
Experiment.
name.
There's a Roberts hiding in a cave.
The Robbers Cave Experiment studied how hostility quickly developed between two groups of boys at a summer camp.
Lord of the Flies. Just kidding.
The researchers were later able to reduce the tensions between the two groups by having them work towards shared goals. The Robbers Cave Studio helps to illustrate several key ideas in psychology, including realistic conflict theory, social identity theory, and the contact hypothesis. So basically, they hypothesized that two groups that have conflicting aims, their members would become hostile to each other, even though the groups are composed of normal, well-adjusted individuals. The participants in the study were approximately 11 to 12 years old, thought they were participating in a typical summer camp, which took place at Robbers Cave State Park in Oklahoma in 1954. However, the campers' parents knew that their children were actually participating in a research study. After gathering extensive information on participants, such as school records and personality tests, they arrived at the camp in two separate groups. For the first group of the study, they spent time with members of their own group without knowing that the other group existed. The groups chose names. They were called the Eagles and the Rattlers, and each group developed their own group norms and group hierarchies. After a short period of time, the boys became aware that there was another group at the camp, and upon learning of the other group, the campers group spoke negatively about the other group. At this point, the researchers began the next phase of the study, competitive tournament between the groups, consisting of games such as baseball, tag of war, in which the winners would receive trophies and prizes. Participation trophies. No, it's After the Eagles and Rattlers began competing in the tournament, the relationship between the two groups quickly became tense. The groups began trading insults, and conflicts quickly spiraled. The team each burned the other team's flag and raided the other team's cabin. The researchers also found that the group hostilities were apparent on surveys distributed to the campers. Campers were asked to rate their own team and then the other team on positive and negative traits, and all the campers rated their own group more positively than the rival group. During that time, the researchers also noticed a change within the groups as well. The groups became cohesive. To determine the factors that could reduce the group conflict, the researchers first brought the campers together for fun activities, having a meal, watching a movie together. However, this didn't reduce conflict. For example, meals together devolved into food fights. After having the two groups work on what psychologists called super-oriented goals that both groups cared about, and which they had to work together to achieve. For example, the camp's water supply was cut off, and the Eagles and Rattlers had to work together to fix that problem. Another incident, the truck bringing the campers food wouldn't start, so the members of each group pulled on a rope to pull the broken truck. These activities didn't immediately repair the relationship between the groups. They were still, very hostile. But working on shared eventually reduced the conflict. The groups stopped calling each other names. Perception of the groups improved. Friendships began to form between other groups, each group together. By the end of the camp, some of the campers requested that everyone from both groups take the bus home together, and one group bought beverages for the other group on the ride home. So yeah, so this experiment was basically just trying to understand how groupthink and conflict theory is, just basically how the other is the enemy, and if you're not with me, you're against me.
Tribalism.
Does anyone have any like
It's tribalism.
perspective from that?
So basically, the idea is that like in the beginning, they just kind of pitted these two groups against each other.
Yeah.
And then of course, like it was more competitive, and they looked at it like from the perspective like we're the superior group. You know, we got these goals, we need to accomplish them ourselves. But then they started introducing certain nuances to both groups to try to get them to kind of, I guess, engage with each other more positively. That kind of that's kind of the
that's basically it. And the idea that it kind of started with though was that it wasn't designed in the beginning to make them hate each other. It was just the mere fact that they only knew their group at a moment, and they were introduced to another. They weren't basically told
they were
these
like,
people are bad. They were
Yeah.
just saying, this is your group. You know them now.
Right.
This is another group. You do not know these people though.
kind of like
And-
what Mikey said about tribalism. It's just when you have
So the whole thing,
Yeah.
started with tribalism, and then it ended
Basically.
with survivalism.
Oh
Like,
yeah, because they had to help each other to survive.
they had to survive. Yeah, so they started with tribalism because all they knew was their tribe. That's what I'm gonna just use to make it easier. But like they started with just their tribe, and then they went and met another tribe and had to compete against that tribe. And one team kept losing, right? That's what they were saying. One team kept winning.
It
Or-
wasn't even that one team kept winning. It's just that the teams kept becoming competitive even when things were trying to be
Because
collective.
the trophy
Like even
was
having
there,
lunch
correct?
together. Oh, I made the joke about participation trophies. That was just a joke.
I
They
thought
had
you
that-
said there's no trophy involved.
No, there was prizes and trophies.
No, that's
It
what I'm
didn't say who
saying.
won
So
though. It didn't
they
say who was
got
winning.
competitive. They got competitive to get the prize or trophy or whatever.
Yeah, like that was the second level. Like in the beginning,
Yeah.
they hate each other just because they hated each other or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Then they made them competitively hate each other.
Because
So like it started off at one level and got to second level, basically.
they didn't trust the other tribe.
No.
That's what I'm just gonna say. So that
Sure.
it just started with we
Lack
are
of
us,
trust.
they are them, and we do not collide with them or talk to them or mess around with them. And then the competitiveness between earning the prize, which made them even fight harder against each other and not wanting to work together. So then all the mess started to where they had to work together to survive, which made them all decide, hey, I'd rather survive than fight with you guys.
Yeah.
And then
And
they
then in
all
the end, they ended up realizing that after giving them those common goals to kind of work together and also be able to be given more opportunity to be around each other, they found love with each other.
the
So-
survival mode. The survival mode was their what's it called?
Means of connection.
Common ground. Common
Yeah,
ground.
common ground. There you go.
That was their
That's right.
common ground.
So, which was more the driving force of that collective success? Was it the fact that they kind of baited them both with like an incentive of just completing their goal, but they had to do it together, or was it the fact that they got to also spend time with the other team, and just based on those interactions, they just started to kind of grow to learn about each other and therefore care about each other?
I think that's what it was. I think
A little
you're,
bit of
you're saying
both,
that
but
it
it's
was
A little bit of both.
It was a little.
But
It's probably a little bit of both.
it took, let's say, the truck breaking down for them to even consider talking to each other.
Yeah.
But once they finally got to talk, so if that truck never broke down or the shit never went bad,
Yeah, the first thing was the
They
water supply
still-
cut off.
yeah,
I
the
know what
water
you mean.
supply, if that
Right.
never happened, they still would be like, fuck you motherfuckers, I'm never, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But-
especially the 11, 12-year-olds fucking
but,
swearing.
no,
up a
I'm
storm.
just saying though.
No, I know. I'm just
trying
kidding.
to get my point across.
No, you're right. I do love
But,
the vice versa.
But since that was shut, they were like, oh shit, we need water. And obviously the one group couldn't do it by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other group's obviously gonna be like, oh shit, we need water.
Yeah.
And they probably walked up there together or whatever, saw each other, and then had to come to an agreement in some way
Yeah.
to do
It's
it together.
exposure therapy too. It's basically the
Yeah.
idea that you're not exposed to certain things, then you're never going to learn about certain things, and
Right.
then you're always going to be thinking of someone as a,
Oh,
it's, I mean, I could go into like what it's considered common, not common, but like kind of, I don't know how much more I want to go deep in the whole thing, but it's just the idea that like, if anything, it kind of does provide a sense of like what diversity can do to groups. It's like when you allow people that are different from you to be at the table and speak, then you find common ground. You just do. Because sooner or later, you're going to find
natural.
something
It's
that,
natural.
yeah, it's natural to find common ground. It's like we have more in common than we have, what's the opposite? I don't know. I'm so stupid. We have more in common than we have that are
Right. Different.
opposite, different,
Different.
whatever. Yeah, different.
Differences.
So I mean, that's basically one of the things. I can read what they had for the theories though. They illustrated it was a realistic conflict theory. The idea of the group conflict was resulted from competition over resources. In particular, hostilities are um, hold on. Uh, well, the limited supply. Basically, you were saying before about like the trophies and the prizes. Like, there's only so many trophies and so many prizes you can get. So like, basically, there was a level of like, hey, if you don't do your hardest work and win this game, you're not going to get a trophy by the time you leave camp. So obviously that was its own fact bragging rights as well, right? And then it showed the absence of competition resources as the boys began speaking negatively to other groups before they even introduced the tournament. So the idea is that, like I was saying, from stage one to just like they're not us, so we don't like them, went from they're not us because we don't like them to they're not us and we don't like them and we need to beat them. It kind of it just evolved into something a little bit more intensive. Um, are you guys interested in critiques, or do you guys want to kind of think of critiques yourself based off what I told you the design was? Can you guys think of any flaws in this theory?
So I
Or-
think the flaw, like if I were to think of a flaw in the theory, I would
Sure.
say that like in terms of like the experiment and the conclusions based from the experiment, like
Yeah.
so on one hand they kind of say if there's like you said exposure therapy, you're kind of exposed to that other team and therefore you're like learning to know them and stuff like that. And that could, that could be what brought you guys to a collective success. But you could also look at it like if you take it more of like a selfish survivalism, like what Mike said, survivalism. But if you look at it from a selfish sense, it could be that like the only reason that they really cared or even bothered speaking to these other people is because maybe they felt like they had to. And if
Okay.
you were to apply this experiment, maybe in other types of scenarios, further down the line, you might notice more that it like has to do with like selfishness as opposed to like, all right, we're gonna build each other up collectively and we're gonna get this thing.
I get you
Instead,
mean.
yeah, instead it might just be more so like a selfish survivalism. Like I'm just talking to you because I have to, bud. Like
Yeah, like maybe testing that to see if that's actually
like are any of these like 11 year olds still friends after the fact? Like
It's
that
true.
that would be one of those outcomes of this thing is like you kind of track you give everybody the opportunity to stay in touch after the fact, and then you follow up maybe like 5 or 10 years from now and you're like, hey, do you remember little Timmy from the other team? Yeah, fuck little Timmy. Oh, okay. All right. So you kind of like out of the context of all that stuff, you want to see if it sticks, I guess would be my thing. Not so much a critique, but maybe a revision to, if you were to do the experiment again.
Perfect. Hey, I agree. Mikey, do you have any flaws you got? And I can tell you what some
No,
of
the
the.
frick I don't.
No, you can't.
No, the frick I don't.
Oh, okay.
We need
So,
subtitles for you because I didn't know what you said at first.
yeah,
I didn't
right.
know. I don't.
Because I was like half laughing.
All right, so some people have suggested that not enough attention had been paid to the role of the researchers who posed as camp staff in the creation of the group hostilities. Since the researchers usually refrained from intervening in the conflict, the campers may have assumed that fighting with the other group was condoned.
That's an excellent
Perry also
way.
pointed out that the potential ethical issues with the robbers cave study as well. The children did not know they were in a study, and in fact, many did not realize that they had been in a study until Perry contacted them decades later to ask them about it. And
So
then,
he did follow up. He did follow
yeah,
up. Then.
decades later, long time ago, long time after the actual experiment.
Right.
And then the other critique they had was they tried to do it again on with a different group of key people, and the researchers were not successfully able to create the group conflict or
Yeah, 'cause
excite any hostilities between them. So
well,
I
that's
guess
all
when they did it,
personality then.
yeah. No, so
Then it
like the
has to be
idea
based
isn't
on the
that it's
people's
just based off
personality.
of because their assumption is that any group of person put in the situation where they get to know one person and then they get to know another group later as the enemy, they're all going to react the same way. And literally, by the fact them doing it again and that group not getting hostile and they were fine,
Was
it
it
shows
kids
that
again?
it was kids again. Yeah.
Did they change their approach with camp counselors, or was
No,
it
same
exactly
design.
the same?
Literally same design, different kids.
Oh, and these kids were
Yeah.
just like,
So
Nicer, I guess. Nicer.
in order
They
to
weren't
figure
very
that out,
tribal,
yeah,
as Mikey would say. They weren't tribalistic. They didn't think of it like, oh, we gotta fucking hate these kids. They thought of it like, okay,
yeah.
well, whatever.
so you'd have to find
We
out
haven't met
how
these
they
kids yet.
were.
How
Whatever.
long after the fact did they try to do it again?
Well, they did it in the beginning in 19. Hold on, sorry. Let me find. I gotta get back up to. Uh, 19. So I think the first one was the 1950, and then
So they would have to go back and see how their parents were.
a similar study in 1953.
Okay, so it was just 3 year difference.
Yeah, 3 year
Okay.
difference.
So they had to check, like back when, obviously they're like, what was it, like 11 and 14 or something.
Yeah.
So they
But
have
no, I
to,
mean that
you know
was
what I
an
mean? They'd
interesting. I
have
mean
to
that's
do.
still an interesting concept because it does dig into what like people can. I mean, we can see as just a general concept of like even like public schools. Like when you have like a public school of people all the same race and the same background or whatever, and then they move to another school where they have more people in their school, even like, and then let's say there's people of different races, different backgrounds or whatever.
Right.
Then like there's always this like confusion. So I think the argument would be like you don't lean into that kind of interaction as like you're coming into a group of people that you can't trust. Come into it as you're about to learn about new people. You know what I mean? Because some people put up walls. It's kind of like don't put up a wall,
Right.
you know, and because that's what those kids did in the first group. So
Wouldn't that
So,
depend on how you were parented though, too? Also,
I mean, yeah, it does have to do with your parents.
you know
so
what I
that
mean?
I
Like
But
if you were super sheltered, you wouldn't be able to adapt like that. But if you
mhm.
were used to being around a bunch of people and everybody all the
Yeah,
freaking time, then you'd be able to adjust to that new setup a lot
yeah,
easier and a lot quicker. So
so
that's probably like if someone like constantly moved around was in that, but they didn't get that tribal feel.
mhm.
Instead, he was in the second group. You know what I mean? Is because he was
No,
able to adapt to
I
the
get what you mean.
differences.
so to kind of
Yeah.
dive, I mean that's kind of what I'm thinking too. A little bit of what you were saying, but so you said 1950 was the first year.
Yeah.
11 year olds, 11, 12 year olds, whatever.
Yeah, 11 to 12.
Okay.
A lot of fucked up shit happened in 1950s, bro.
And then 1953 is when they did it again with 11 and 12 year olds.
Yeah, same age.
Okay, so something that I want to posit here is that
Okay.
that means that these kids in 1950, they were born probably like what 1938, 1939. They grew up during World War II.
Okay.
So chances are that their childhood
That's what I'm
throughout World
saying.
War II, a lot of them probably didn't have like too much of a father figure because everybody was drafted, right? So
That's fair. That's
when
fair.
it's just you and the kids on the playground, things to get gritty, and therefore you just kind of have this natural untrustworthiness of like other people, or you just feel like you're kind of if you're looking at like a male role model, you're looking at like soldiers, right? So just
Yeah.
naturally you have that tough instinct. But by like 1953, those people, they were born in the middle of World War II. And I would say theoretically that if you're born in the middle of World War II, that means that there's a good chance that your dad was already back home from the war, or maybe didn't have to go to war. And you could have had a little bit more of a consistent figure, like full family, mom and dad, whatever figure. And therefore, by the time you made it to that, by the time you made it to that experiment, just your outlook on everything was way different. Even though it was a couple years, you had kids who were born before and into World War II, and then you had kids who were born during World War II.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
I get that. No,
Oh.
yeah, I get that.
And this
So
is something
what-
I'm positing just like I don't really know much about this experiment. I'm just based on just what you're telling me. That's something that I just
I mean,
would
yeah,
just
you're,
think
So I
about.
have
taking the reality of what our
Yeah.
country was. At the
So,
moment,
Right.
you know?
Sean, to ask about that, so are you saying like single parent house homes would
Not
be a
not so
cause
much.
of like not specifically that, but I'm just saying like because you're talking about the family, like the dad
Yeah.
would be home, so they have like a dad figure to show them, yo, this is how you're properly supposed to carry yourself as a man, type of thing.
Yes and no. So
To a
yes, in the
point.
sense of like there's like consistency in growing up, right?
Yeah.
Plus you're already in the war, and it could be just more than just having a father figure. It
Oh,
could be
yeah,
that
yeah,
you're
yeah. I'm
born in the
just
middle of the
saying-
war. Everything's already set. The fucked up society, how we're all dealing with the World War II. You're born in the middle of it. There's a little bit more consistency as you're growing up, and then you see the end of it. Things are a lot happier. But when you're born before World War II and you kind of grow up into it, things are way different. And it could connect to just not having like a figure in general, or if you did have a father figure or something like that, it's this idea of a soldier is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like a
like,
soldier father
Would
figure.
you
That would be
would
a
you
lot
also
different.
think
Yeah.
maybe that could have been because also like they have that anger built in from their fathers having to be taken or died or whatever,
Or
so
if they like the whole man of the house thing was probably a big thing back then too, right? So
Yeah, more boys were the mans of the house because of
Exactly.
that situation.
because the dad
For
had to go off
sure.
to war, so that just kind of hardens you a little bit. And then it could still be the same thing for the people a part of the 1953 experiment, but I would imagine that it would be even just a few years. It could shift completely, given the circumstances of the war. But 1953, that means like by 1941 you were born. By the time that you remember anything, it might be after the war ended. But if you were born in like 1938, by the time you're 4 years old, you're in the middle of the war. Like you're just like, wow, the shit's kind of fucked up. I haven't
Are
seen
any
my
of you
dad
guys
in 4
able to
years.
look?
You know?
Can one of you guys look this up? Because I think I'm right, but I don't want to get the facts wrong, you know.
Yeah,
But
what's
I
up?
think it is. What is it? The first like 6 years are the most important development years of a child's like life. So if you're like what he was saying was they would be four while their family is going through all this hardship and all this like bad and negative happening.
From birth to age 5, a child brain develops
There
more
we
than
go.
any other time in life. Right.
There we
So
go.
Also, a recent study says from
That's-
birth to age 3, the most important years in child development. So I don't know.
really,
Yeah, that's
See,
what I
that-
got.
that's interesting because River's 3 already, and like he doesn't even talk yet.
Yeah. That
He
doesn't
doesn't
make
have a
sense.
semblance of
Labeler's
communication.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, though, like that just
Wait. Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I did a little deeper. You said what age?
5.
5?
Bye.
No, yeah. I found an article.
Okay.
You're right. I think honestly, because I saw that's like one person's perspective. I think they just think that the concrete thing of like speaking and stuff. But like
Yeah.
the reality is that they're children
That's
that
what's up.
don't
The
get
concrete,
the three
baby.
with being able to speak. It just happens.
Foundation.
So I think 5 is a fair number in the first place of development because by the age of 5, those concrete, the very spongy.
My earliest
I
thoughts
saw
are
it
like
with
4 and 5.
Madison. Yeah, I saw it with Madison because Madison's 8 now. So like and Kylie picks up shit fast nowadays, dude.
Picks up
But
boys off the floor.
anyway, yeah. To Mike's point, I think that plays a huge part in just the mindset of these kids in this experiment. Because being born at the end of the 30s and being born in the middle of World War II, you know, you got one
completely different.
Yeah, you got one hand of kids who actually experienced it, the other hand who probably they had no memory of it when they went to the camp. I could have summed it up like that in the beginning, but you know, you live and you learn, right?
It was good though. It was good though. I liked it.
So you got another experiment?
I do. Do you guys want to continue?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Roll, buddy.
All right. I'll try not to have to read the whole thing to you guys again, but I'm just gonna. All right. So I'm gonna just give you a preface of what this article says. How do you convince an increasingly overweight population to get a little more exercise by taking the stairs instead of the escalator?
I feel attacked right now.
Make it fun. A social experiment called Piano Stairs gave subway riders a choice between piano stairs or the escalator. Watch what happens. So this was a German metro staircase. What they did was they...
Yeah, can we... Hang on, before. Can we guess?
Guess what?
Which one they would choose before you read it?
Oh, I would choose the piano staircase.
Dude, I would choose it instantly, dude. I would just do it just to mess around and have fun. I would do it up and down. Like, I wouldn't even stop going down the stairs. I keep going back and forth, making us all.
Dude, I'd get skinny in no time, man.
I'd miss the train 7 times just because of the piano stairs.
Shoot, I don't have any statistics on how they chose.
Is that like their hypothesis? Like that?
The hypothesis is that you're gonna take the stairs for the fun of it.
Yeah.
I would.
But yeah, basically, the idea is that the decals on the staircase coordinates with a musical note, and so think of the staircase like it goes up like this. So think of it like a flat piano. So the bottom stairs one side of the piano, top stairs the other side. So in order to play a song, you'd have to run up the stairs and press on them. So it's not like they're across the way, so where you're on one step and playing it. You literally have to go from
like each step
the bottom
is a
stair
key
to the very top stair to play certain kind of music, right? So people would do that. People would go back. They would be on the staircase just going up and down, or they would have a friend go in one spot, and then they'd be like how you were saying before. People were doing that for the longest time. And I mean they prove the point that it's just kind of like it's like a buy-in. It's like what would the example be? It's like
probably releases dopamine. That's
it does. Yeah, because it's the fun and then the energy of it. You also getting dopamine from the exercise of it. But like, I mean, the interesting is like like I said, it's a buy-in. It's basically making it so you're not realizing you're working out. It's like playing sports, you know.
Right.
But the idea is to kind of make exercise fun. So, I thought this was an interesting case study because it wasn't anything like they talked to anyone and asked them, "Oh, why'd you choose the stairs?" I mean, they did have small momentary times where they asked people questions, but it wasn't like a full-fledged like, you know, we're gonna dig into your brain. It's kind of just like, hey, why'd you choose the stairs? And then people were always like, oh, because it was fun to hear the notes play and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, I guess my whole perspective when I was looking at it in the first place was I was like, how can they implement something like this with other areas? So this is like something with weight loss, right? Is there other things that they can do for like other types of like I can't even think of a good example, but like just like other types of vices that people have, like to help minimize a vice. You know, the vice would be laziness. But I can't. Can you guys think of anything that you think would be like an interesting experiment to kind of work on?
Like you say, okay, say you have like a fitness center, you have a gym, but like every single piece of the gym, a treadmill, the weights, etc., there's like some sort of like mini game attached to it. So like when you're doing it, you're seeing this like visual like verification that like you're accomplishing something in this game. You're getting a score. It has all these pleasant noises, kind of like Pavlov's dog, right? You hear these like little bells and whistles, like, oh, you just got to this level, you got to this level. Like, it's just a lot of little things like that kind of build like to make it feel like it's fun, but also to feel like you're like accomplishing something by gearing the whole entire gym to this like video game mindset, I guess you could say.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that like more of this
definitely have
concept
to
would
be
be.
something like that.
Yeah.
I just
What
thought
would?
of like a VR style thing. But
Yeah.
he pretty much said the same type of shit. Like
I
just
mean, yeah,
have it
they
come
had
with
that
like a
VR with
mini
the
game.
ground, right?
Dude, there's
The
what
one
is
where you
it?
could run on it.
That Beat Saber thing, dude. I heard people
Yeah.
like, dude, you burn
That's
hella
active as
calories
fuck.
off that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. If I didn't have
But like
motion
seriously,
sickness, I'd be more of a fan of VR.
in Player One, in Ready Player One, their VR system, they physically move their bodies, right?
Yep.
They have like this treadmill. It's like the Omni
Yeah,
It's
treadmill.
like an
yeah. Like
exosuit
that
too.
exists too in real
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so
Probably
cool.
expensive,
No, I
but
agree.
I would love that.
Oh yeah. But I
And
guess I don't.
that's
I mean, I agree with Sean about the whole like if you can find more buy-ins for working out and stuff like that. Like I don't even know. Like what would an example be? Maybe
well,
like like bench pressing. You're like holding up a wall and you have to hold it up for a certain amount of time or
Yeah.
something to release. Like what if like the bench press is like you're when you go up, you're like Spider-Man holding up a wall for
Right.
like civilians to crawl under. So like you have to hold it up long enough to get them through. And then like that's level 1 or whatever. Like
Yeah.
hold it up long for 5 people to get through. And then, and then the weight gets more and more. And then, but you feel like a superhero because you feel like you're
Yeah.
lifting weights to save lives. You're not just lifting weights to, to fucking get jacked,
Right. And you
But
can
I
see
guess,
it visually manifesting in front of you. You're like,
yeah,
you're looking at it like, wow, that's me right now. Like,
like I'm
I'm
holding up a
saving the
fucking
day.
wall. Yeah, fuck yeah, man. See, that'd be
Yeah.
cool. I can't. I in my head though, I can't think of anything else because I know there's like, for like smoking cigarettes, they did like vapes, which is like I don't know if vapes are even that much better than cigarettes.
This guy right here.
Yeah, Mr. Vapor, he's got one right now. But no, I'm just like trying to like in my head. I'm also thinking like, what are other vices that like people could like implement
Dude,
some sense
laziness
of
is a tough one because like a
yeah,
lot
it's super
of
hard.
laziness can be
laziness,
attributed
dude.
to
Take Alpha
depression.
Brain.
Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Sometimes it's not
What's
that
alpha
they're just
brain?
lazy. They're just like depressed. It's
What's
hard
alpha
to
brain?
motivate yourself.
Alpha Brain.
Yeah.
It's like this. What's it called? Like a neurofactor, like pill thing that you take.
Oh, and it solves depression.
No, it just like
Okay,
gets you motivated to do shit,
well,
and
that's
like
nice, but I don't know. It's
and
interesting.
helps with like cognitive thoughts and
That's
brain
kind of like
function.
D. It's literally the same concept as D.
Are you gonna ask him, Mikey?
No, I'm not, because I already know what he's trying to set up here.
All right, and then but yeah, do you guys
D's
want me to move on
nuts.
to,
All right.
do you guys want me to move to the next one?
Yeah, go to the next one.
Go
next
ahead.
one.
And then the
Yeah.
next one, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of this one. As soon as I say the name, you'll know.
I don't hear
Marshmallow
it.
test.
What?
Oh, the one where you put
Marshmallow
it down and
test.
tell him. Okay, yeah.
Delayed gratification.
I think I know this one already.
Marshmallow test is an experiment conducted in the late 60s where researchers put kids alone in a room and gave them a marshmallow each. As part of the experiment, the kids were told that if they did not eat the marshmallows, they would get another marshmallow in 20 minutes. Researchers saw that the kids who did not eat the marshmallows during the test would distract themselves by not looking at the marshmallows and looking elsewhere, like at their hands or at the wall. When the researchers followed up with the kids later, they saw that the kids who were able to wait for the second marshmallow during the experiments were generally more successful later in life, although they did not take other aspects into account, such as cognitive strength, family upbringing, economic situation, early aptitude. In 2018, the study published with the researchers ran the experiment again, but took these things into account. The researchers also did the experiment 10 times as many people. They found that correlation between delayed gratification and success later in life was much smaller than they originally thought. But that is not why I love this experiment. So the idea is instant gratification. How do you guys feel about instant gratification? Do you feel like that's something that you feel like you can be patiently waiting for something for future success, or do you feel like that's a struggle with you?
Depends on what it is.
Okay. Can you give an example of something that you can wait
Like,
for,
dude,
and then give me an example of something you cannot wait for?
if I can't wait for it, dude, it's burritos. If there's a
What do you
burrito in my
mean?
face,
Do you
dude,
mean
I'm
eating a
eating it.
burrito or finishing a
Yeah,
burrito?
no, like eating it.
Okay.
Like,
So
if
even
you
if I
were to
said,
say,
"Hey, I'll give you 2 burritos if you don't eat this burrito in 20
sorry, I
minutes,"
don't give a shit about
you
the
wouldn't give a
second
fuck?
one,
Okay.
I wouldn't give a shit about the second one because one burrito filled me the fuck up.
I
So,
guess we have lunch tomorrow if you have the other burrito.
no, I don't
Okay.
need it.
All right. Well, then, can you tell me the reverse? What's something that you can wait for, or do not have that? You're just being silly.
Huh? Yeah,
What
no,
is something you can
I,
wait for?
I literally, I could wait for a burrito. I was just talking shit
Oh,
about that
okay.
one.
Okay.
But, no, yeah, I can wait for shit. But if I don't need to, like why? Like why wait for it if I really don't need to?
Okay. So, like, the factors have to mean a lot for you to feel like you're gonna
Like look,
wait.
me, right? I want
Okay.
$1 million, right?
$1 million, yeah.
I'll wait 10 years to have $1 million.
So you're saying,
Okay?
okay, so you're saying like
Like
if
I
someone gave
will
you the
work.
option of like a
Like
hundred
I'll
thousand
work.
today or 1 million in 10 years, you take a
Yeah,
million in 10 years.
I'll be like, all right, I'll wait.
Oh, okay. Well, can I ask you this thoughts like this happen though? In 5 years, you could, you know, end up in so much financial distress that it could end up just either not enough money to help you or, maybe you die before you get the money. Does that thought go through your head?
No.
No.
'Cause that's just a what if.
No, I
I'm
mean everything's a
guaranteed.
what if in the end. In the end, 10 years from now, maybe that company that was going to give you $1 million goes belly up and can't give you it anymore. That's a
All
what if
right.
too, but it's also a possibility.
But if they said either this or this
So
in
like
10
idea is
years,
like you can enjoy it now though. You can enjoy that 100,000 now, or you can risk 10 years you're going to get it.
the
But I
risk
get
is
you. If you
worth
don't
the
think like that,
reward.
that's fair. That's
If
fair.
Yeah.
you die, does your family still get it, or is it
No.
gone?
Only Mikey would get it. So if he dies, then that 100,000 you could have had is gone, and then the million will never show up because you're dead.
I would get it right
Bitch.
away.
Yeah, you would take 100 grand.
No,
Hell yeah.
not
See,
doing it.
see, two different mindsets. That's why we're doing this shit, Sean. I love it. See, there's
I would
nothing,
not
no
do
wrong
it.
answer too. These are both really good answers. Like you're willing to risk 10 years of everything to get $1 million later, and yeah, that's fucking awesome. But
I've been
Sean's
through
also
worse.
like 100,000 right now is still a lot of fucking money. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take that money because 10
But
years ain't
really,
gonna do
it's
that thing.
not. Really, it's not.
Okay, you
10
take
years
that
not a long
100
time?
grand and you invest it, buddy. By the time 10 years goes by, you got more than that million.
Ooh, Sean, that's actually
Invest
really
that in
clever. That's
some real
really
estate,
good.
bro.
That reminds me of the penny a day and it multiplies or
Yeah,
whatever or for the month. It's like you
right.
take a penny and then you get double the next day and then it doubles in a month. You make way more than you would if you
Yeah,
took like a
flip that
flat.
investment. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's a smart
Growing
way.
that
All right,
money
See,
just
pipeline.
Mikey, did you think of that though? Did you think of that?
what?
Sean might have just gave you an idea in your
Set up
head.
that investment plan, and then even if you die before the 10 years are up, you got someone else who's insured to get all that money. Someone in your family goes to your fam. That's what I'm talking about.
I wouldn't die in 10 years. That's all I'm saying.
I'll fucking fight death if I have to. I'll beat his fucking ass. I'm not
No, I
dying.
wouldn't. I wouldn't.
You're like, hey, yo. Hold up.
I'll be 38
Hold on, I can't.
Yo,
Hold on.
or
It's
39.
9 years and 11
give
months.
me
1
a
month.
second. I'm about to get a lot of cash death. You don't understand. This is a
'Cause I
lot of
already
money.
told-
I swear with you.
I'm already manifesting this in my head already.
Well, I appreciate that,
I
man.
told someone, I already told someone 10 years I'll be a millionaire.
Good.
Oh fuck! I'm excited to hear that.
There you
So
go.
I think I
I've
heard that
already,
before. Some celebrity
so
did that
I've already
once.
said that shit. Like the dude brought me to a house that we were working on or whatever.
Yeah.
We were doing an add-on, and it was
Yeah.
actually the owner of my company. And he's like, "Hey, we're doing an add-on. How you like this house?" I was like, "Dude, this would be a nice house to have." And then he told me, "Good luck." And I said, "How old is he?" And he said, 39. And I said, "All right, 10 years, I'll buy this house."
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
Fuck yeah, baby.
like,
But yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate the logistics though. Like Sean broke that down actually really cleverly. Where like I think that his decision's actually pretty smart too. But in the end, you know,
But
we
back
don't
to
know
the
what's gonna
burrito thing, though.
happen.
I was thinking about the
Yeah.
burrito thing. Like, honestly, like, just give me something from Wendy's and I'm good. Like,
also,
Like right
hey,
away, or you could wait.
no, I can't wait.
Oh, okay. See, the problem with food though too, especially if it's like hot food, is that like
also,
you don't want to wait because then you got to reheat it, and it's not as good as like the original heat. So it's like,
And nothing is as gratifying.
yeah.
Wendy's nuts are on your chin, boy.
God,
I love those nuts on my chin. Get 'em
Right.
over here, bitch.
Also,
I did it. I made it work, Mikey. I did it. I did
You did it.
the D's nuts jokes. I did it.
I'm glad that you did.
All right, have a good night, guys. I'm leaving. That's all I wanted from you. No.
But yeah, no, this I like how you
I
guys
was
are
gonna
thinking through it,
add
though.
though,
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
waiting 10 years, like knowing I get in 10 years, right? When I receive it, I feel like I worked for it because instead of them just handing me 100 G's right then and there, I feel like I just got given this for no reason.
Bro,
Like I,
what? Bro, they
yeah,
literally told you they're just going to give it to you in 10 years.
You just have to live long enough.
I have to
Just his head
work
canon is
and
going to be,
survive till there.
he's going to be like,
Yeah.
oh,
So
He's thinking of it like a fucking game. He's like, oh, I gotta survive this
and
fucking
it's a
Right.
future
life.
savings. It's a future savings because
I
then
mean, I guess in reality, you have to like maintain a certain lifestyle to like
just look,
stay
look.
above
Say this even. Look, say
water.
this even. Right.
Yeah.
Look. 9 years, right? 9 years and 7 months, right? So I got
Yeah.
what? 5 months left, right?
Yeah.
I go homeless. I know if I can just survive those 5 months, dude, I got my million
Why would
dollars.
you
it
go
could be a
homeless
good-
though? Like, on
it could be a
I'm
purpose?
good
You
way
go
saying
to-
like
homeless?
no. I'm saying like if everything crashed and like that,
Oh,
like I became homeless,
yeah.
that would
But
give me
it might
enough
enable
fight
you
to keep
to,
going.
but it might enable
To
you
keep
to work
going.
more like recklessly, though. Like, you know, you're going to be getting that million in 10 years. So you're going to go throughout these next 10 years like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
And like,
You
it
probably
could be
would.
free. It could be free to
You
Not
live
could
with
like
risk
my
that.
more.
present state.
You could risk a lot more.
But it
Wait,
could
wait,
be,
wait. Am I talking about? Hang on.
Every single year, you
Hang
could
on.
like do a really large bet, and even if you lost it, it wouldn't matter.
yeah.
Look, with that, right? Living recklessly,
Yeah.
are you saying that I'm like just me, or do I have my family and stuff? Like, am I right now?
Well, that's
or
the
is it
thing.
like,
What you were saying
if
before
it was
about being
family,
homeless,
I
you're gonna go
wouldn't.
homeless with your family too. Then
If it happened, that's what I'm
that's what I'm
saying.
saying, though.
But if it was 10 years, I don't see myself going homeless because of
No,
what I'm
I
doing
doubt
right
you
now.
would.
That's all. Like what I'm
Oh,
saying
I
is
get it. You
right
won't go
now.
homeless because you literally work on building homes. So it'd be like,
Yeah,
guys, I
see.
lost my house. They're
But
like,
I
oh, we
still have
got
my
you,
job.
Mike.
But no,
They
like
make you a
I
little
can be at
doghouse
this
in the
home.
backyard.
I
You
can
be
be
like
set.
at this
but
home.
that's where the whole mentality come from too. Is right now I'm all right, so I don't need the 100 G's right now. Like I'm happy where I'm at. So like I'll wait. I'll be like, all right, yeah, I'll wait. I like doing what I'm doing right now, so screw it. I'll just keep doing it. Because if I take that 100 G's, I'm gonna want to be lazy. Like I'd want to invest it, and then I wouldn't want to do shit.
That's fair.
I
And
mean,
then
yeah,
I feel like
that is fair, but that's it. No, I'm kidding.
like
I
if I didn't like my job and I just hated what I was doing, I'd take the 100 G's. But I
Yeah.
like what I'm doing. I enjoy it. I have fun.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely how you take it. I mean, I mean, this delayed gratification concept though is very different in a lot of ways. Like even the idea that they're saying they redid this the the experiment multiple times in the like the future or whatever, and they ended up adding in the factors they didn't think about. Like the reality is, like what Sean was saying about how like taking a smaller chunk of money earlier than later, Like you can actually manipulate that. But if we're talking about like someone gives you a hot donut and you get a different donut if you wait, like there's the factor of like it's not as good of a donut anymore now that I waited. So it's like, do I even need two donuts in the first place? Like you were saying, burritos. You don't
Yeah.
need two burritos. So like, why would you wait for two burritos? Why would you wait for two donuts when one donut's fine? Also, like one warm donut is better than a cold donut and maybe a warm donut because you don't even know if that next donut that's coming is actually warm or whatever. So like obviously when you're breaking it down to other situations, delayed
That,
gratification isn't as big of a deal. But I guess the reality is people think of delayed gratification like working out compared to eating junk food, right? Like if you don't eat a lot of junk food and you eat really healthy, then in the future you'll be fit. Are you willing to hold off on eating like shit? You know? And then there's the argument that
but that's
even
not
if you hold
completely
off,
true.
what's up?
Because you still have to work out even though you're eating healthy.
No, I get no,
You know what I
but
mean?
that also adds in. I guess healthy lifestyle. So you're gonna be
Yeah.
healthy. That's your gratifying thing. But you're giving up all the fucking pleasures of like foods and bullshit and
But
whatever.
not true with that either, because everything is also okay, but in moderation.
See, and you're breaking it down even more, and I appreciate that because you're right. That's also true. Like literally, there are even when it comes to that kind of delayed gratification, there is things you can do to still meet your goals and not give up everything. You know, not everything is a lump sum cut. You don't have to
Yeah,
cut everything out. Yeah.
like sometimes crack cocaine, it's okay, just in
Like once a
moderation.
week, yeah. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's like don't do it again for like 6 months, and then
Yeah, and it's even
good.
better if you don't,
Yeah.
bitch.
Come on, Mikey.
See, no, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But no, I mean honestly, like, yeah, the whole delayed gratification thing is so complexive that I feel like there's a lot of factors and you
Yeah,
can dig into them. Yeah.
and to kind of bring it back to the whole like the job career element of this segment,
Sure.
right? At my job, the salaried managers, I believe they get paid once a month. The beginning of the month they get paid. So that paycheck looks pretty good when you first get it, but like you're not going to get another one until a whole month from now. So
Yeah.
like in that sense of like a delayed, I guess, gratification or a delayed incentive of your job, I feel like over time that just like you just grow tired of that because like I'm sure you
Um,
end up getting in points where you're halfway through the month and you're like, oh, I still gotta wait. I still gotta wait to get my next paycheck. Like,
yeah, like shit.
yeah,
Gotta
yeah.
take care of this money.
So delayed gratification really isn't all that gratifying all the time.
It's true. Yeah,
Like,
Uh,
it's
you're
just
right.
it depends on what it
the
is that you're
mentality
waiting
and the
for and the
situation.
mentality, right? Because like it's kind of
Something that
like someone's dangling something in front of you, and it depends on how long it takes for you to get it each time. So like if someone's dangling a lump sum of 1 million in front of you, once you reach it, that's it. You hit your goal, your thing that's been dangling above you for 10 years. But with your check, it's like, all right, it's the first of the month, I got the money. But now it's just the next one's dangling in front of you, and time just drags as you wait for that next one.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, it's like I don't know about
to
that.
go back to the whole like you were talking about like fitness and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd have a problem with like all the junk food if they didn't try to make it so addictive on purpose.
No, I mean that's obvious too. Because at a
Like,
certain point, we
when
have
do
to
you
understand
ever?
that our food distributors and whatever they have goals to meet with their company, so they need us to keep buying. So obviously they try to find the best way to get you to keep buying. I mean, we got like what cigarettes? Do you think about cigarette companies? Like they don't give a fuck if people die from lung cancer and shit like that. They don't care. If anything, they're like they don't care because they think that people are investing in their their cigarettes and shit to a certain point where it's like it's your decision.
Right.
So they'll keep addicting things in there. So it's like, is there really a difference between like the cigarette companies and the food
No,
companies,
no,
like fast
no.
food? There's really not, in a sense.
I
I mean, unless you have a decrement. I just think that they're
No.
at the core of their marketing and what they're trying to do. Yeah,
I was
they're
just
the same
saying
thing.
because you talked about the whole like fitness and junk food.
No,
and
I
stuff.
know. I'm just saying.
That's what I was bringing into it. But no, yeah, I agree
But I
with
feel
you
like
on
if
the
you're
whole
gonna be
cigarette
like
thing
fit
too.
too, you're probably gonna want to quit smoking cigarettes.
But everything's okay in
Wait, what?
moderation.
Oh,
I said
well, yeah,
everything's okay
maybe.
in moderation. So
No, I
like,
get you. But if you really want to
like
get to physical fit, you
no,
probably might
yeah,
want to add more.
So everything's okay in moderation, but when you take substances that have addictive properties, it doesn't apply. Because
but
like
yet it doesn't.
you could say like, oh, if you smoke a cigarette in moderation, you'll be fine. But that's not how smoking cigarettes works. Like, there's no one who smokes a cigarette in moderation unless they're working on trying to quit and they have other alternatives and substitutes in place because
three of
they're,
them.
or like if they have like a vape, right?
Yeah.
Then
No, I'm
maybe when
saying
they
I work with not three. Sorry, because there's only three people in the crew. But the two guys that I work with literally smoke cigarettes only in moderation.
But what is moderation?
Like probably like once or twice a month. They just be like having a shitty day at work. Hey man, can I get a smoke?
So
Yeah,
you
sure.
quantify that by 1 or 2 shitty days of work a month?
Yeah, give or take. Like they're just
Is it always applied
in
to
a
when they're having
bad
a
fucking
shitty
mood.
day?
Yeah, like shit's just going wrong on the job. Like shit's just breaking. Shit's just like it's just a pain in the ass. Typically, we all end up like I vape, so I'm not trying to say that I smoke on occasion because technically, I do not.
So
You know what I mean?
in
But I do
moderation,
occasionally. I will occasionally have a cigarette,
I think in
but I'm not
moderation would mean that they
referencing to
smoke
me.
more than just once or twice a month. So I think they're even beneath that threshold of moderation.
Oh, I just meant like say once a week and lower would be moderation. Like it's okay to do it sometimes. Like, nothing's wrong with doing it once in a while or like in moderation. That's all I was
Health
meaning.
wise, I don't think so because I think even with secondhand smoke, there are like potential health repercussions with it. So I would still say that like even in moderation, smoking cigarettes probably not good. But in terms of like the addictiveness of it, um, that doesn't sound like they're all that addicted to the nicotine.
No,
But
that's
they're
what I'm saying.
still in some regard they still are in the sense that like they're attributing smoking it to like a bad day. I mean,
Like
you could
I've
just see if they
known
just wouldn't smoke in a month, and if that's fine, well, why do they do it in the first place then? Right?
no, yeah, I don't know. They're just
Yeah.
like, oh fuck. It's just like I guess like a stress reliever maybe. You know what I
Sounds
mean?
like it.
Because I've done it once in a while like this. I'll vape just me. It's more of like a not a
Yeah.
boredom thing, but like I need to do something, so I'm gonna hit the vape because it just gives me something to kind of do.
Yeah, but even in
But
moderation, I guess what I would say is that cigarettes are still not good for you.
no, but I'm saying it's okay. Like,
But it's okay.
but you know what I
They're not
mean?
good for
Like,
you, but it's
no,
okay.
no, no, no. Like, what I'm trying to say is, once you get to an X point, you're considered addicted. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to do it once in a while. Nothing's like it's not looked at as like so negative
Yeah.
as like addicted to it.
You're addicted
In a
or you're
subjective
addicted.
But,
sense, yes. But in like the objective health
no,
conscientious
no, yeah,
sense,
health, no,
like
no, no,
the
no.
moderation piece just doesn't have much of a say because you're doing something that like from the get-go you know it could potentially do something to your health, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a
That's
lot
true.
of things like eating junk foods. You know that could do something to your
Sugar,
health,
yeah.
but people
High
but
cholesterol.
people overdo it instead of doing it once, twice a month.
Yet
Just
again, I
like, you
feel
know what I
attacked
mean?
right now.
No.
You're attacking him on his own show.
I'm gonna
You
get
fucking
canceled.
piece of poop.
Fuck.
Like he's gonna
I'm
We're
get
not
getting
gonna cancel
canceled
you. We're
by
just
me.
gonna
No,
fucking
no, no,
hate
no.
you.
Hold on. Let me
Gonna
just
hate
like
you.
crop you out of the Streamlab video. But
But
All right.
what was
yeah.
it? I was about to say something. Fuck.
Sure.
Uh, but to go on with the wait, we were talking about moderation, right? Fuck,
Mhm.
In
man.
moderation.
Um, but no, yeah, I just think like it's like I'm okay with anybody really doing anything like a little bit, not like don't overdo anything.
Mhm.
Like don't overdo freaking drinking water, dude. drinking too much water could kill you.
You
Yeah.
drown
Like,
yourself.
and then drinking not enough could kill you. Like it's what is
Dehydrate.
it? Like I've known people that have done some reckless ass drug shit, you know, like just from my past, like back in the day,
Right.
and like there was a dude that would occasionally do heroin. Like when you know anybody that just occasionally does that.
No one,
Occasionally
Mike.
does what?
Heroin.
Heroin, dude. I don't know if he does now, but this was like maybe 10 years, 12 years ago. It's like he just occasionally did it. I've hung out with him
It's a
like all the time,
decision.
and he
It's
wouldn't
crazy.
be doing it.
That's just like I would call that
And
like
then
high
like
functioning addiction.
Yeah.
Because that is a very real thing. High functioning addictions, like you see it probably most with heroin users.
no, not every day. He's not doing it every day. Is
No,
that
but
what I
like
was
he's
saying?
absolutely still addicted because what it does to your body's chemistry and stuff. It's just they're high functioning, therefore they're not needing it as often as like say someone else who's addicted to it.
Hey, can one of you guys look this up?
Yeah. What's up?
I think it's what is it? Most people get addicted to the stuff that's combined with most drugs, not the actual drug it's called. Like cocaine, it's most
What
of
is
the
cut
time
with, you
it's
saying?
like what it's cut with. Yeah, most of the time you're getting hooked on what's it cut, yeah, and not the pure form or some shit like that. Like the pure form of things are not addictive compared to what it's cut with. I think it's something like that. Sorry, I'd look it up too, but I only got the one screen in.
Keep going. I'm gonna type it up quickly.
You're good, you're good. But no, yeah. If that's true, then it puts it into a different perspective just because then it has to focus on what it's cut with. You know what
I
I
would
mean?
say maybe like that's true for like a little less extreme drugs,
I
like
just don't know
ecstasy
exactly.
or cocaine. But I mean, heroin at its purest form was still used for like heavy pain relief. Like,
Yeah, but then you can bring in painkillers. That's why everybody has a drug problem with painkillers.
right, but that's what I'm saying. So in its purest form, heroin is still in an addictive state. Like it's still in a state in which people are going to be fiending for once they use it the first time. And the
But
way that I
then
back that up is by just painkillers, other kinds of painkillers
is
being
heroin mixed or opium an
opiates.
opiate?
Opiates, yeah.
But opium is the what's it called? What heroin is. It's just the pure form of opium. Or opium, right? Opiates is like painkillers, but opium is actually what the plant is, right? Opium seed or opium plant or some shit like that.
Yeah. 12% of opium is made up of um, analgesic alkaloid morphine, which is processed chemically to produce heroin. And then other synthetic opioids from medicinal use and for illegal drug trade. But opium in its purest form, I know, is used and smoked also.
Yes.
But so technically,
Typically,
the purest
what
form
is
of
it?
heroin would be that chemically processed version of opium. Otherwise, you would just be talking about opium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That's
opium
how I was,
and heroin are just, they're two totally different things. It would be like saying that, like, I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying. It's just that, like,
no, yeah,
we wouldn't
yeah.
call
It's derived differently.
pure heroin opium.
No,
Pure
yeah,
heroin is
no.
just pure heroin, But opium is just that base, like, key
No, yeah, that
ingredient.
I was just trying to say, like, I'm talking
Yeah.
about pure, like, when after, like, they take it from that plant and then
Right.
not all the stuff mixed in. Because when they do it with the opiates, they're also mixing shit with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Vicodin and stuff, it's mixed drugs, not just
Yeah.
opiates.
The only difference is those
Opium or
ones
whatever it's
somehow
called.
get a pass from the FDA and all that
Yeah,
shit.
it doesn't make fucking sense.
Yeah.
It's a money scam. That's all I think it is.
Oh, we have a third episode idea, Patrick. Taking on Big Pharma.
Big
Hey,
Pharma. Yeah.
hey,
Get 'em.
I would love to be part of that one.
Fucking get them, dude.
Big Pharma.
Get them.
I'm a
Yeah,
big,
honestly, Mikey, I can't figure
not
out how
gonna
to
lie.
search this to find that statement. So I typed in that statement. Nothing's coming up.
Uh,
I'm
I
gonna look into it
also
more later. But that's
what is it?
interesting. That's interesting. You think you heard that before, though? That
I
drugs be
swear,
more
I don't know if
addicting?
I read about it or heard about it, but
Yeah.
I just want to, I like to be fact checked.
No, I mean,
Because
hey,
I don't like to
if
have haters,
anyone's listening to this, don't listen to Mikey.
So,
It's
like,
not
it could...
Yeah.
The quote that you said could probably be attributed to a lot of scenarios, but I think that, like, something
But
like
also, I
addiction
think
is
it's,
just different. It really depends
I
on
know,
every single person's chemistry, right?
yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
a former addict, or I am an
I'm
addict,
sorry,
you
bud.
know. But no, that's all good, dude. I wouldn't change it. I
Do you
wouldn't
still have
change
your
the
Glad you
way I
coin?
got
do
past
things
it, man.
ever. Huh?
Do you still have your coin?
I don't fucking know, dude. That was all a scam.
If you don't
That
need
was
it, you
all.
don't need it, I guess.
No, that was all a freaking scam. I'm
Oh,
not even
that
gonna lie.
place you went to?
Yeah, dude, all rehabs are a fucking scam.
Oh shit.
Not...
Not saying all like that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like I don't trust anything that has to do with like the hospitals and shit like that just because I feel like shit is pushed because of investors and all that shit and
Yeah, it depends on where you go, because rehabilitation has its strong elements to it, but then you also get places that don't feel as genuine when they do it. There are certain
but then you
programs,
have
I'm sure,
like
that...
I went to rehab and stuff and I relapsed. I don't know if y'all knew that, but I relapsed after I got out. And then I decided to take mushrooms. And after I took mushrooms, I woke up the next day and said, I don't need any of this fucking shit. And it hasn't touched anything since. So
Yeah.
rehab didn't do shit for me. Mushrooms saved my life.
Well, mushrooms, and then just like the psychological chemistry of your brain too. I think
No, yeah.
Pat's the one with a little bit more of an academic side of psychology, but I will
Mm-hmm.
say that I believe that like that, it's like the psychology that kind of gears you towards that. And what mushrooms really do is it just kind of...
Opens up yourself. It
Well,
opens up
it's
your
stuff
mind to
that,
yourself.
in my opinion, it's stuff that's already there.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. It
Yeah,
opens up your
yeah.
mind to yourself. Like you actually see your true self and you feel like it's hard. Like you don't see your true
Yeah,
self.
don't
But
look in the
like,
mirror.
Yeah.
no, don't look in the mirror. Don't look at anybody you're with because the whole face gonna be fucked up and it's gonna throw you off. And if you're using the bathroom, don't look at your dick because it look fucked up.
You're gonna cut it off. You're gonna be like, "What? What is this?
Get rid of this thing.
There's a snake in my
But
bathroom."
no, it's a big thing that when I actually saw that Oregon was legalizing mushrooms, I actually saw it as a big positive. To be honest, I'm one of those ones that thinks all drugs should be legalized. The main fact is because then when you're getting it, you know it's in pure form and it can be regulated, so you can make it to where people can't get overdoses.
But I mean, stuff like Vicodin is regulated, right? So going through
You're
that whole
saying,
process
right?
of regulation
Yeah, but
might not...
I'm speaking as if like it was a perfect world type
Oh,
of thing.
like
Obviously,
you're not gonna have
In a perfect
fentanyl
world.
in your drugs, shit like that.
no.
That's gonna kill you.
That's what I'm saying. Like it would just all be pure stuff to where like how weed at the dispensaries in Illinois, you know, you can walk in, they give you can only get this X amount, blah 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 blah, and then you can go and there's laws with it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if
Yeah, I
there was
get
a
you.
place where a freaking crackhead can go get pure crack and just be him little crack self in his
They're
house.
kind of doing that right now, though.
You know what I mean?
So I had this debate with one of my uncles about like how to curb like inner city violence, gang violence, blah blah blah. He was positing that a stronger police presence would be the way to do it, but I pointed out that statistically Chicago has one of the highest amounts of police, and yet they still... Well, no, not Chicago, because they were like top 20 for in terms of murder rate, criminal rate, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
huge rate.
So Baltimore, Maryland, they're like the second most violent city in the country, and they've got like the top 3 highest number of police officers in their city. So I kind of told that to him, saying that doesn't, like, you need more than just throwing a bunch of cops in a situation, right? So he was asking me, he's like, all right, so what would you do to stop the gang violence? And I'd be like, legalize all the drugs. You legalize all the drugs, well, there goes a lot of the drug trade. There goes a lot of
for them.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do with the gang. I mean, without drugs, there's no real gangs.
Right. And like
they kill each other and stuff like that over drugs.
Right.
So.
It's all about money, and if they're the stuff that they would funnel for the money is gone, they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. And in that process, you could implement certain things in those communities, the society, just the city in general, to try to curb, some of those.
Did you tell them education would also help too?
Yeah, I was talking about it. I was saying, instead of like
better education,
instead of investing in stuff like charter schools, actually make the public schools better.
Yeah,
you know.
Right?
But I was just like, dude, just legalize the drugs, and then you're undercutting like a whole bunch of the profit of certain organizations causing that violence.
That would make the big pharma bankrupt. That's what would happen. Because
I think that's the fear they have.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because look, cocaine, right? Coca leaves. That was used in the military to wounds and to numb the patients while they cut their arms and legs off. Mm-hmm. That's what cocaine was used for.
And for making Coca-Cola.
Yes. They also put it in Coca-Cola to get people addicted. Yep. But also, what is it? Opium.
Dude, we're really digging into this, by the way.
You know what I mean? Like plants. Dude, shit that is naturally grown. And they're, instead of using it, where you can literally just plant seeds and have that medicine consistently growing, right?
Yeah.
You don't need all these factories polluting the shit and polluting the air, dude. Have everything grow naturally. Except for some things, maybe like, like some shit like AIDS or you know what I mean? Like, obviously there's something, like I'm saying there's...
Are they growing AIDS at a farm?
No.
Is that how AIDS happened?
What's going on? What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's an AIDS tree.
Damn you, Monsanto. Putting AIDS in all of our crops.
Dude, that's just like...
No, what I was saying was like, obviously there's some things that like natural things will not help.
Right.
We need science for and all that stuff and doctors and all that.
Like GMOs are necessary to an extent.
Like, dude, mushrooms have been proven to help with anxiety, depression, and a bunch of things like microdosing, not macrodosing, microdosing.
Micro.
But instead they want to give like antidepressant pills. Or
hey,
like,
don't be talking
I'm
about
not,
my
no,
bro. Hey, this Lexapro be working.
No, but what I'm saying is
just made me a little fat. That's all.
But what I'm saying is like there could be something natural instead of putting chemically made human, like, you know what I mean? Unless you need to. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, big pharma should be there if you need them to be there, not let's knock out everything that's natural and fucking make everything by hand. And now we have a big like problem with people taking pills, getting addicted, all this shit.
Yeah.
The same shit would happen, but it would be less money. It wouldn't be so expensive because you can just grow that shit yourself if you really wanted to.
Yeah. But if we're talking less money, I mean, something like that, I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole of like free universal healthcare and stuff like that, because like theoretically, if we're looking to like not like if the cost of living wasn't a cost and you could just live, I mean, there's a lot of different things just in the country and the communities that you could do to fall under that. But to your point of what you're saying,
if you do that though, people lose incentive to actually do things.
Right.
So
but then that's why you
know what I mean?
You build incentive for other things, because we wouldn't be everything's not going to be free. But like, I don't want to be going to work with the incentive being that I could, that I have health insurance and I'm going to be okay if I go to the doctor. Like, to me, that shouldn't even be an incentive. That should just be something I could do if I'm feeling sick or if I get really sick or I'm dying or something. You know what I mean? Like it
But
just
what is it?
I don't think it
Like
should be
you're
incentivized.
talking about universal health care?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you have universal health care, then where's the incentives for doctors to try to get new things figured out if they all end up getting paid the same no matter how hard they work?
Don't they like don't they get funded by the government still? Unless
Yeah,
it's
but
like a
they would all
privately
get
owned
paid the
hospital.
same. They would all get paid this. How it privately owned? So you're saying they can charge their own amount?
No. I'm saying that like outside of privately owned hospitals, like I'm pretty sure that um like the money coming to the hospitals, like it's already set in like the governmental sense. It's not like you make universal health care, it'll affect the wages that the doctors get because it's not like a supply and demand. Because like we're just gonna always need doctors and nurses. It's never gonna be based on like people going to the doctor because when they're paying to go to the doctor, they're paying health insurance companies. So really, the people that
Yeah,
would be affected would be the health insurance companies and all their workers. If you make universal health care, it wouldn't so much like it wouldn't affect anything with doctors and stuff.
but
And then all
how
the
would it not?
Doctors
companies,
will set their prices.
right? And
Yeah,
but see, you
what?
wouldn't have to
Hang
worry
on.
about
You'd
those
have
prices,
to,
right?
but then how are the doctors getting paid?
They get paid through like I don't know. Isn't it because like they're government funded? Let me check.
No, we pay, or our insurance pays the hospitals, which then pay the doctors and the salaries and everything.
Let's see.
Isn't it? Isn't that usually how it
No.
does? Because then doctors go into debt, like hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school to be a doctor, and then they're all going to make the same amount of money, which would then, what's the point to go to school to be a doctor if I'm
Well,
going
I
to
mean,
only
if
make
we're
a hundred?
talking universal health
You know what I
care,
mean?
I would
Yeah,
say
that's what I'm trying to say.
no student loans. Like the free college would be another thing. It
But
would
then
be a package for me
how the professors get paid?
because they would
Now,
still
how
be hold on. Professors would still get paid because like I said, like the money that's coming into the schools, like yes, I think it does help with funding certain things for the schools, but most school districts are funded by like the local governments. That's why
yeah,
like all the public schools in the inner city, if it's a low
are
income
trash.
community, yeah,
Are dog
exactly,
shit.
because it has to do with the community around it. So if we want to improve something like schools or when it comes to stuff
Or,
like
and
universities, it's not so much the fact that we're paying for it, it's so much that like I guess the government would just have to better allocate their resources when it comes to the schools.
yes, but that's why private schools are thriving,
Yeah,
is
but those
because
are also
people are
trash.
willing. Yeah, but people are willing to pay more to give their kids a better education. If there is no incentive to have your better education, everybody's going to get dumbed down if it doesn't change the way public schools are already run.
Right, but just having a charter school isn't incentive there. The incentive there is just that they're able to take your child from the bad area and like basically relocate them to a somewhat better area, but only for their school days. Like at the end of the day, the kid's still going to go to their home, which might be not so great of an area. You know what I mean?
But that's the same as public school, except the one is actually getting a better ahead of the step because they're paying for it.
But that doesn't always mean
I'm
it's
learning
going
a
to be
lot right
better.
now, actually.
Like when it with the
I like
public
this.
school, if anything,
Like
you want
I'm
to.
actually
So,
I'm looking into private school for my daughters.
For your kids.
so the
Like
idea would be that you
actually.
want to improve the public schools. You want to have communities that
But the thing that But since the government runs that shit and you have to pay taxes and the government wants to spend those taxes on everything else but what it should be
well, that's
for
why I said the
because they don't
government has
have
to
to.
better. Yeah, I said they have to better allocate the resources.
Yeah, they really
So
do.
this is a scenario where it's like we would need a lot of things going correctly for it to
And
work.
that And that's putting 100% trust in the government, which you really can't do because looks what's been happening in the world. Uh, Bullshit everywhere. Not just
Yeah.
saying right now, but I'm just saying there's no way you can fully 100% trust the government to do what they're gonna say they're gonna do. So therefore, I would never want to have a universal income or universal anything because the government's just gonna corrupt it.
Yeah, but that could be said for, I mean, that's already what's going on when it comes to like these health insurance agencies, big pharma, these corporations that essentially operate above this supposed government regulation that should be there. They're able to kind of work above it, and they're
Yeah, they're
still
setting the
corrupting it.
prices, so in a
Yeah,
sense, it'd be the same thing.
yeah, they're setting it. Like I hear you with the whole
Yeah, I
government
get
not
where you're
trusting
coming
the
from,
government.
Mike. I definitely know what you're
I
talking
just
about.
don't trust anyone. Like libertarianism is
That's
something a
what
lot
I'm
of people
saying.
talk about, but
Like,
like
like
once you
I do
start
want
giving the
to,
power
I
to
do
just
want to,
local
I,
people, different companies, like it's not the government, it's just the people running it. It's like, dude, I don't fucking trust the people either.
no, I
Like, you
get
know what
that
I mean?
completely. Like, I want to get this straight. Like, I agree. Like, if it would work, if
Yeah.
universal healthcare and stuff would actually work,
Right. We need a lot of
I
things
would,
that would work
that
with it.
yes, I would be for it. But
Yeah.
me knowing that it would never work because you can't trust the government 100% with that stuff, you know, I can't, I
That's
can't
enough for
agree with
you to
that.
feel, yeah, I
I
get you.
can't, cause
That's fair.
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like it sucks,
Yeah. That's why, like, just hashtag
but
OnlyFans, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
let's all join everyone. Everyone make their count tonight.
We're gonna, like, the future is gonna look like this. Doctors are gonna have subscription services called Only Patients,
Oh,
and it's gonna be like a subscription based like healthcare situation.
You
Like
know what I
doctors
do
that'd be dope.
like?
individually need to get subscribers, which are their
You,
patients.
Yeah.
you know what I do like though?
What?
What?
That each state gets to kind of make their own laws on things because it
Yeah, it
makes
just
it to where you
depends.
can
Yeah.
like no what I'm saying
We
is
don't want to get too far into this one, do we?
Yeah.
no what I'm saying is like you can always choose to go some you know what I mean like oh this state I agree with more of what they do I'm gonna go there but you're still in the United States like other places you
Right.
can't do that shit like you can't just be like in Russia you're like I'm gonna go here in this part of it in this part of this
It's
continent,
just the same thing.
and then
Right.
it's going to be the same. Like that's what I like because it kind of is giving the freedom more to the people because you can move and travel within this country
Yeah.
Yeah.
to favor what you like to do. Like me,
Right.
I like it out here because it's where I like this type of lifestyle. Like, you know what I mean? Some
No,
people
I see what
like
you're
people
saying.
like the city lifestyle and the way certain places are ran. They move there. Like
I mean, that's
that's what I'm
100%
trying to
true.
say.
I mean, people move to certain states all the time because they think politically it's a better decision for them to be around people
But
that
not
think the
just
same as them.
politically. Not
No, but
just
I'm saying that's
politically.
like one of the factors that drives people. I mean, me and you were talking a while ago about how like Arizona had a lot of people coming, a lot of people from California came to Arizona and kind of is slowly pulling people with a different political aspect than Arizona had into turning that red state more blue, right?
Yep.
That was only because out of necessity. That wasn't exactly because they wanted to go there.
No,
It's
yeah,
because,
yeah. I'm not saying that, but they
they
had a
thought of
choice
the
to
weather as like, okay,
they
California's weather's hot, Arizona's hot. It's a good place for us to go, I guess.
Right.
So like that happens all the time. But
uh
I think the problem with everything, with the whole moving state by state, is that you're not going like, let's say you take an issue and the issue isn't and in your state that's not how you want it to be. Now you're forced to move, otherwise you got to live underneath that rule. I don't
Right.
want to get into details or anything, but like it the idea behind that, it goes literally both ways. If you're allowed to do it or you're not allowed to do something, depending on what state you're in, now that's where you're stuck. So whether or not you're getting what you want or the opposite side's getting what they want, you're gonna be in that same boat no matter what. So like everyone's gonna go through that. So that's the only thing I see is like that's what our country is, though. Our country is a democracy, so it's like the people vote, and when they vote, that's what ends up being, whether or not you don't like it. It's not like these decisions aren't moral; they're legal.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, it's legal. It's just you're passing laws, you're passing things that are just a legal condition, not a moral condition. That's actually, so people can argue about whether or not you're on a moral, spectrum that actually is like makes you a good, bad person or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like you can't just lie on that. Be like, oh, well, that's the law, so it's right. Like, no, it doesn't make it right.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes it the law.
Right.
Yeah. Hey,
That's my 2
hold on.
cents on that.
Hey, give me a second. I'm about to piss my pants. Hold on a sec.
All right.
We're about to end soon, though, right, Sean? Unless
Yeah.
we got something else to go on.
Wait. Well, we could end it soon.
You want him to piss his pants first?
Yeah.
All right, piss your
really,
pants and
really
then...
quick though. Yeah, to your point, like, yeah, it's great that we get to choose where we could go, but like, if you're born into that state and you didn't have the choice to choose where you wanted to go, and there's something that negatively affects your life because of the certain laws there, that's just where it kind of becomes unfair. That's the thing where it's just like, that's why I think that, yeah, it's great. Each state gets to decide exactly what they want to do with their state, but it needs to stop being something that like potentially disenfranchises certain people, or something where it's like, if you're of a certain thing and you're in this state, you're just going to be like, there's going to be things that kind of work against you in that sense. You know what I mean? That's the only time where I disagree, is just like, yeah, of course, true freedom means they could do what they want. And sometimes doing what you want means that, you're doing negative things to people who don't deserve those negative things. But I would say that in a perfect world, people don't do that. Like the states, their laws are actually like practical, and they're not about stupid shit. Like if they start putting back like, oh, you know what? Marriage should stay between a man and a woman, start going back to that. It's those kinds of principles that they shouldn't touch.
That's the one thing I think that, like, what is it? Like, if you think about it, right? Life is better now, right, than before.
Right.
Like, no matter what, like, yes, we're all, like, the world's still fucked, right? But I would rather live now than 50, 60 years ago.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is there's always room for improvement, but we're always improving. It doesn't seem like we're always, like, we're not going backwards. History repeats itself, obviously, but, like, we're always moving forward and trying to make change for the better. It never seems like we're trying to make change for the worse, but there's always conflict when change is coming.
Yeah.
There's never a way, unless you're playing, pick up basketball at the park, there's never a peaceful transition of anything.
Yeah.
There's always conflict.
I mean, the idea is that when something occurs, there's always someone that's going to be upset, and there's always going to be someone that's even happier. So, like, no matter what decision ever, that's just our country. I mean, that's just honestly the world, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to make everyone happy, but because we have a society that's so split, especially in these camps, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And it's like, the hard thing is to realize that you're biases. You know what I mean? You got to realize that you're being biased, but I don't know. I mean, I guess there's also moral dilemmas too, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
My whole thing is I like to ask people why they think of something, even if it sounds like they're coming from a morally obscure position. I like to be like, well, why do you feel this way about something that I find so disgusting or whatever, right?
Right.
I'd rather know what, because when you find out why and what, you actually can find out, like, oh, maybe they're missing a part. Maybe they're missing something. Maybe there's something they don't know. Maybe there's something I know. Maybe there's something I don't know that they know, and that's actually true and not some fucking bullshit, right? Because, we have so much misinformation in a lot of ways that some people just, they follow the party lines.
Yeah.
And they don't even care. So I don't know.
Which everybody's pretty much in the middle on a lot of things. But
I'd like to believe that. I like to believe that we have a country of people that are more middle ground, but
not gonna lie, the government, I'm just gonna say the government, not specifically saying what part or whatever like that. I'm just saying the whole government and the media is like forcing people to choose a side instead of just letting people be fucking people. They're saying you must choose this side or this side. and there's no in between. Which I believe 90% of the world is in between.
I mean, most of us probably agree on the same stuff, you know. It's
Like
just,
what I told you, I agree with you on the universal health care and all that, but it wouldn't work. That's the only problem. Is
They'd
I
have to
know,
work on it a lot. And
Yeah.
like it would take
I wouldn't
forever.
say
But there's a
it
possibility,
wouldn't
man.
work. I say that it could, but it would take a lot of steps and a lot of things.
And
There'd have to be a lot of
like,
agreements too.
But that
And
would
would
take
have to-
that would take a lot of agreement, which with a two-party system like this, you're not going to get those agreements, unfortunately.
Yeah, they tried the third party stuff, but it's not ever gonna.
The Green
You know what I
Party.
mean? The Green Party is never gonna win. It's
Shit,
always
this shit got super political. No, nah, but honestly though, I thought this ending was pretty interesting, just because you two had like different opinions and stuff, but it was really cool. You guys were
Hey,
really
you know what?
collected.
Fuck you,
so
Mikey.
it's nice.
But yeah,
Maybe it's
hey,
'cause
for
you're
the
related,
first
I
time,
don't know.
Sean, for the first time, we found common ground.
Yeah.
Oh no,
that's true.
hey, I'm
No.
just doing this for the
No, no,
show.
no,
I
no.
don't know what
Yeah,
you're talking about.
He's trying to be
Yeah.
nice, but honestly,
No, it's because
Sean,
you're not trolling or anything. That's why. It's
No, yeah.
like-
he's being sincere.
yeah, that's what changes it with me. When I see people
love
who
it.
are just like going out of their way to troll about their stance, I'm gonna be like, well,
Oh, yeah.
fuck you then. Like,
Let's fight this shit. All right, well
What were you gonna say,
let's
Pat?
close it up.
you were like,
What's up?
You were saying something to me.
But what?
I don't know. You didn't get.
No,
that.
I was just saying if there's anything else you wanted to add, because I did my articles, I did my experiments.
Hi, my name's
brought you to
Larry,
this.
and it's short for laryngitis.
Yeah.
This is like,
Um,
I didn't know if you have any enders or anything you wanted to wrap up with.
No. We could probably wrap this up.
All right, cool. All
Um.
right, guys. Well, thanks
Alrighty.
for listening into our. You have to tell you have to say the title again for me. Sorry.
Thank you guys for tuning in to NEUROMINDED.
Crossroad Dilemma.
Sean and Patrick, with our special guest. Larry.
Mikey Slimak.
Oh yeah.
Lower Larry, right?
Yeah.
Now, Larry, do you want to plug any of your
Oh,
accounts?
you could find Mikey on TikTok at Slimak Entertainment.
Yep. YouTube, Slimak Entertainment. Instagram, Slimak Entertainment. Pretty much any social, Slimak Entertainment.
We will be sure to add those socials to whatever platform we put this episode. So
All right.
perfect.
Much
Thank you
appreciated.
very
Much appreciated.
Well, thank you for
Thanks.
coming on, and thank you for talking and being honest and straightforward. And
yeah,
it's
thank
kind
you
of
for
nice
lying.
to
Thank you
Yeah.
for being dishonest.
nice to see what your thoughts are, man. Some interesting shit came out.
Yeah, anytime, dude. Anytime. Thank you for
Love it,
having me.
man.
Appreciate
All
it.
right.